All right, welcome back to my weekend stream. I haven't posted in a week or so because I've been busy adapting my hangar to the new realities of our drone mechanics and whatever robots got buffed, I decided to bring them out to play around with them. So I brought my ancient Tyr back in. I'm still upgrading Quarkers or waiting for an overdrive, so I've outfit him with some Quarkers and Scourges, which were nerfed. But the Tyr is doing remarkably well with the buff and health. And I've paired the Tyr with an interesting drone that I'll discuss in a few seconds. I also brought back my tank bots, so I can replace my Falcon with my Fenrir in the middle slot. In that center slot here, I have it set up for basically tanky like play style, and this is really kind of an icy hot death button because the Ember has been buffed and is just extremely strong. And even with the nerf of the glaciers, the 20% damage that happens when you fire off a glacier, if I could just remind you guys here, the accumulation has been decreased, but you get a 20% damage increase when you use any of the glacier cryo type weapons. And then again, I can replace it with a Fenrir, so I've made my middle slot adaptable. I still have my Hawk. I dropped the glaciers, obviously, because they're on the Falcon, but also because it just plays better. So I have the Dragoons, and I'm actually in the process of upgrading the Dragon Marquee. I've got about a day left, and I'll take that up to level 11 so that whenever an overdrive happens, I'll be able to kind of get that going. And then finally, I brought my Virginia Walker piloted Nightingale back with the cryos, and I played around with between the cryos and rhymes on the Nightingale versus putting it on the Scorpion, and I find that the Scorpion actually does much better with the Atomizer Quarker build because it just kind of can, just lethally come behind somebody, fire at them in the front, and go from behind and take them down with a continuous fire. And this Scorpion again is level 11. I'm waiting for a overdrive event, and I have him set up with the Last Stand and 2 TNRs. I don't have any overdrive modules. So with that said, this is the drone setup. There's still some clarifications that happen to come across in queries. So for my Tyr, I kept it a very simple drone because I didn't get good skills when I rolled it. So I have a locker down module. This works for all weapons. So there was some confusion that these don't work with, that these work with only drone firing weapons. These work with all weapons. And if I can click the information here, I'll go through the description. Enables all robot weapons to apply lockdown. So if you have a drone that fires, yes, it'll do that, but you get 0.7% effect accumulation per shot. I think it's a great option to have. Either the freezer or the locker down or the suppression all work in this type A slot. And this is kind of a throwaway slot right here, the socket type here for inciting intensifier. It's actually only 5% damage when you're immune to suppression effects. So after you've been suppressed, that means you've been suppressed for 5 seconds, you have a 5-second window, you can use this. So this slot right here, the type B slot, is basically useless. So if you get a bunch of type Bs, I feel bad for you. And I think even the type C slots are a little bit useless. So B and C, I've actually stopped spending gold on getting those sorted. The health slot is great. It's a type D slot. Here I have reconstructive repair. Again, this is going on my Scorpion. I had the recurrent crashing repair. You guys saw that in a previous video. That's 25% repairable durability and 100,000 damage in 3 seconds. That hasn't happened yet unless a Titan manages to get my Scorpion off guard. So I find that this 20k one is a little bit better. The 15%er is okay, but that's again 100% in 3 seconds. That's tough to get. And then the phasing one is great, but I don't really have a phasing heal, but I don't have an active module for phase shift on my Scorpion. So I just have the Scorpion stacked with a bunch of healing abilities, and I have also on top of that a suppression one, because when a Scorpion comes and attacks somebody, you want them to make actually suppress and then heal and then attack. This Discus ended up being my tank drone, so I've got some tanky like skills here. I get like locked down often, so I think I put thermic, no, I get frozen or locked down, so I put thermic intensifier there, and you know, you can get other ones too, but all of these are really not that great, to be honest, so I wouldn't waste money on the type B slots. The type C slots, this one I just filled it in, and you know, it is what it is. It's an emergency defender. When the durability falls below 30%, increases the defense points for 5 seconds. So that's a recurrent, which is fine. I just needed to put something in there because I wanted to max out this drone. And then here I've got a healing slot at 5%. When it falls below 30%, repairs a portion immediately. It has a cooldown of 20 seconds, so this is a constant one. And again, on tank bot, that's great. I also have a freeze skill as well in the type A slot. And then finally, under here, when I'm locked down on the robot itself, it increases the defensive points by 45. So this works great for Fenrir that's not in active mode, and a Falcon. And I kept it flexible. For my Hawk, since I do phase shift a lot, I put the phase shift healer, so that's something to look out for and try to get if you can get it. And then for the sockets here, I put a microchip, honestly, because I need to just increase the power of this pathetic little fly. And then I have just, you know, last stand, type B microchip, and then I have a thermic intensifier. So really the skills here that keep my Hawk alive are the healing, and then of course this microchip. And I could even change this battery microchip to something else, like a freezer one. Actually, I may do that right now. But I don't have enough capacity, so that's the problem. When you do that, you have to take something off, and if I were to take one off, I may just take this off, and I'm going to walk you guys through it, because the thermic is a freeze effect one. So no, the unimpeded is over here, and I will take that off, because that basically means after you get locked down, you can swap that in. So I will swap it officially to the freezer skill, and there you go. I'm at a 12 at 12, and my Hawk has a freezing beam. So the final slot for the drone, right here, I have this paired with my robot in the far right, and I swap that robot around a lot, so I keep it pretty general. It's the Nightingale. So for the Nightingale, you often get attacked and you just like get pummeled heavily. So I put a lockdown skill. I put a battery microchip to increase the power, and I use the inhibited intensifier, so when I'm locked down, I can increase my damage output, which happens often with the Nightingale since he is a beacon grabber. And then when I'm locked down, the damage output is increased. So that's just a Nightingale skill that I had. That's really the setup right now. I'll have some gameplay to show you guys this in action shortly. So I keep my beacon rushers pretty flexible, starting with the Nightingale here. And I think the Nightingale's strength has kind of been weakened with the phase shift, not holding the beacon anymore. I do struggle with it, but it's either a Nightingale or a Phantom or a Blitz. And you know, between the three, I like them all. I think the Blitz is actually pretty strong, and I'm preparing for them to get nerfed more. So you can see here, if I had the phase shift to hold off the beacon, I would have used it and held off the beacon, but I use it just to basically prevent getting destroyed. And you know, I lost a ton of weapons. So I would say the Nightingale's been impacted most greatly from a beacon rush perspective to capture beacons. But the key element here from a strategic perspective is to make sure you've got all three beacons held down, so you've got the advantage. And I'm gonna just sit here and harass this guy as I go through and attack him. And so the Ares is still pretty weak. I can convert now, but that guy managed to drop in his beefy, tanky Leo with a discus, so I know he's probably running some pretty heavy hitting drone skills. So I'm gonna just camp out, and there's no harm in camping out. and just, whacking away. The new pilot Maya that came out with the operations pass, I don't recommend. You would be firing double the rate that I currently am, but then again, you don't get the quick cooldown time, which I still need. So I know I'm gonna die here, even though with my overdrive I'm firing as much as I can. I just don't have the damage per second to take this Leo apart. So no point in phase shifting, and I choose a different beacon to see where we can defend it. I think a hawk would be appropriate here. Oops, no, I miscalculated because I really am too close to everybody. I like staying far with this hawk build. Let me see if I can take this guy out and penetrate his shield. I think that's a Bulgasari. So I phase shift out of this area. I don't have to hold down a beacon, and I'll heal up a little. But I get pummeled again, so Quartermaster kicked in, phase shift, and I'm going to go hide because clearly at this point I've lost a weapon and I'm getting my rear end handed to me. I'll go help my teammate out there, try to get this beacon, but I'm not going to fire my laser beam at him because that would just be mean if he retributes all over him. And let's see if I can get this beacon. In 90% of the cases, when you're 2-to-1 with a hawk with a dragoon setup or just in general, you will not survive. And so I'm getting pummeled and will probably die. So it's a question of now trying to retain your beacons. I drop my Falcon in because I know he's tanky. I take all 3 weapons out, so I'm not in defense mode. I see the Haojun there, and I'm preparing to heal as he fires, try to flip over him so I don't sit there and get baked. And let me see if I can take him out. Slave of the Emperor, yep, I think that was stolen from me, but we've now lost all of the beacons, so I'm gonna go find a beacon to grab and take out my weapons. I'm missing all the shots, so that's the unfortunate thing with Glaciers and Embers, is if you're not aiming properly with these quick little phantoms, I'm just firing everywhere. These phantoms are just flying around like little flies. So key strategy is to get your beacons back. So I am trying to hold down center beacon now, and I should be able to actually take this guy out. But then on my right, Arthur deploys. So this Falcon build can really take apart Arthur's health. You can see here, I'm now fighting a Phantom and an Arthur at the same time. And I don't have Quartermaster on my Cormac pilot. I may actually do that because in this circumstance, I could have deployed a little bit more health and survived a little bit longer and taken this Arthur apart. But Embers and Glaciers are still classic Arthur. And here there's a teammate that is sitting right next to the beacon. I've decided to go get the beacon because clearly he doesn't realize that, and it's a Loki, so he could actually just move ahead and get it, but he's got some crazy build. He must just be some new player who doesn't really know what he's doing. So I'm going to use the fastest bot I have available. I didn't choose a Scorpion because I know he would have been destroyed if he got fired upon. The quick moving Tyr is still a tanky mobile bot, and I don't even have a T4 skill set up for the Sigrun pilot. So I'm going to run over and get that beacon, but thankfully I have a teammate who is smart enough to realize that we need that beacon. So I'll just keep on plugging away. I'll let that Arthur get the center beacon, and I'll try to go get the far right beacon over there. I think it's beacon D, I believe. So we're now dominating, and I paused for a second to see. Okay, so the drone skill here is kicked in. It's great, and this is the one I was describing with the Tyr. I can just basically really slow down and let the Tyr bullets fire away. The mixture of the Tyr Scourge with the drone skill really helps a lot. So at this point, I'm gonna get my Nodens in because there's a lot of different Titans floating around, and I need to get a Titan kill in. So strategy here is, drop your bot when the timer's about to end so you can get some extra honor points at the last second. So I got one Titan kill, and I'm healing as many people as I possibly can. and the game ends. So that's kind of the strategic play. Let's take a look at who I was playing against. So I got about 2,500 honor points, and the teammates that I was fighting against all had about 6 cup ranking and a couple of masters. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Those are the honor points that I got. And drones, don't stress about them. They'll be here for a while, but we can adapt, and don't drop too much gold on them. They're really not that worth it.